Welcome back to Fast RC. My name is Ryan. Arrma just announced the Granite 4x4 Mega 665, and there's two new features that I need to talk about with this vehicle, so stick around. I'll see you on the other side of the intro. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into the Granite Mega 665. And so the very first feature that I want to talk about is the upgraded motor. And yes, this is a brushed motor, but it is actually a bigger size brush motor than what you normally see, being a 550 can. In this vehicle, it's actually a 665, so it's going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more torque, and probably some more speed. Honestly, taking a look at this, I would not be surprised if it is at least comparable or somewhat comparable to like a lower end brushless system. And what's nice about this whole package is that being brushed, you're able to save a little bit of money. With the price of this vehicle being $259.99, it's going to save you over the 223S model, while still giving you some of the features of the 223S, which I think is a nice touch. So like I said, the first change on this vehicle that I really wanted to talk about, the 665 motor, I think you're going to get more power, more torque, more speed. And with all that torque, they needed to make a change in the drivetrain system. And so that's going to be thing number two that I talk about. The second feature is there is a change in the drivetrain system. This thing does not come equipped with a slipper clutch, but instead comes equipped with an overload coupler. And the difference between those, I'll be honest, I don't know too much about the overload coupler, but from what I can tell, it's probably a beefier or more reliable setup than a slipper clutch. From what I can see, I'm not quite sure if it's adjustable or not. We're gonna have to wait and get our hands on it and actually tell how this thing is gonna perform versus slipper clutch. But it's not a differential either. From looking at the internal components, you can see it's got a spring mechanism, some washers, and basically a overload coupler is just meant to keep the shock of torque out of the drivetrain system and prevent catastrophic failure. So I would imagine with all that torque from the 665 brush motor, which is going to have a lot of torque for what it is, they had to give you something more than a slipper clutch to handle all that torque. So this comes with an overload coupler. That is feature number two that I wanted to talk about. And then just some of the other things I wanted to add on to this video and talk about is, to me, this looks like a version of the 223S Arrma Granite, but without the 223S electronics being the brushless motor setup, and instead getting a bigger brush motor. It looks like it comes with a brushless ready transmission and drivetrain system, so that's nice to see. If I haven't mentioned before, this vehicle is 3S capable, so it's going to be able to put a ton of power down to the ground, and it looks like the drivetrain is set up to handle that power, which is nice. And what I think is really cool about it, coming in at $259.99, it gives you this really nice upgrade path if you want to go down the road with this vehicle, and maybe that 665 is no longer enough motor for you. I have no doubt you can drop a brushless setup into this vehicle and it'll handle it like a champ. So that's the other thing. It has some other touches similar to the brushless models and the other Arrma models, such as the clipless version bodies. You can see you got the clipless tabs on the front and the rear. It's got the ventilated chassis and the extended chassis walls to keep the dirt and debris out of the chassis, which is always nice to see. As far as the other electronics, it is going to come with the Spectrum setup, 2-in-1 ESC receiver combo. And then as far as the servo, it looks like a standard Arrma servo, 125 ounce-inches of torque. But overall, a really interesting product to take a look at. I think it's coming in at a very nice price point at $259.99. Shoot, even the motor comes with a fan and a heatsink on it, which is a nice touch. Keep the heat under control. But like I said, it's a nice touch to just the overall product line. I've been tracking RC prices here for the last month, and I'm going forward. You could check out my RC dashboard at fastrc.net if you want to do that. Of course, this vehicle will be on there, but it's nice to see Arrma releasing things in different price brackets and making the RC hobby available to more people. That I'm always a huge fan of, so shout out to Arrma. But that's pretty much all I got to say about this thing. To me, it looks like a 223S Arrma Granite with some scaled down electronics, but you might not be scaling down too much with that extended, larger brushed motor. So that's my takeaway from it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.